My name is Callum Borchers. I'm a graduate journalism student. Well, I grew up in Massachusetts here in Medfield, and I did my undergrad at Ithaca College in New York, and I finished that in 3 years, and then I took a job as the sports editor at a small newspaper in Connecticut. Stayed there for a couple of years. I moved up to editor-in-chief after a few months, and then my wife and I really wanted to come back home to our home state. She's from Massachusetts also, and it seemed like a good time to go back to school. She was getting into the workforce, and so we kind of swapped roles, student and professional. And I picked Northeastern because I wanted to find a program that wouldn't duplicate what I had done as an undergrad. And I had done a lot of TV as an undergrad at Ithaca. I had a pretty good foundation for journalism, but I looked at the other programs, in the area, BU, Emerson, et cetera, and they were all, very good, but it seemed like there was going to be a little bit of redundancy. And to be honest, a big draw of coming to Northeastern was the faculty. You look up and down this roster of professors, and it's pretty darn impressive. I mean, these folks are really top-notch in their field. Professor Robinson, sort of chief among them in my eyes. I really wanted to do some investigative journalism, and I got to exchange emails with him before I even got here, and I was hooked. Obviously, Northeastern is very well known for its co-op program, so I think that even in the classroom, hands-on experience is sort of at the foundation of the whole curriculum, and so that's one of the big draws for me because Boston's one of the best media markets in the country, so I figured coming here was a good chance to kind of get into that. And as far as the investigative side goes, yeah, that was definitely one of the reasons that I wanted to come here. I did feel like I had a pretty good background in basic reporting skills when I got here, but I always felt like, and I've told this to Robbie, that I was a better writer than reporter. And there is a difference in my eyes. Some people are really good at crafting sentences and telling stories and stuff, and I feel like I am pretty good at that. But the reporting side of things takes a lot more work. There's stuff that I just didn't know how to do. And so I knew that coming here with someone like him and other professors as mentors would really take my reporting to the next level. Certainly the first semester I was here, I took the investigative reporting seminar with Professor Robinson. And it's a small team of students. There's only 5 or 6 students in a class at a time. And our biggest story was about the Boston Fire Department and shift swapping that was going on. Essentially, one firefighter might sort of under the table sell his shift to another firefighter who would come in and fill in for him with the assumption that you would repay it at some point, but the shifts were never being repaid, and essentially they were defrauding the city out of a lot of money. There's more to the story than that, but that's sort of a really quick summary of the story. And I had never worked on a project that took months to report and write with 5 or 6 reporters all working on it together, and it really gave me an idea of just the magnitude of some of the best journalism that's out there, something I had never been exposed to before. Well, one of the best things about Boston's media market is there are so many media outlets, for one thing. So, while there's so much talk about the struggles of the journalism industry, I have felt like here there are a lot of different places that you can work if you are, willing to work hard at what you do. I think that's really what it comes down to. So, for me, my biggest concern about going back to school was taking myself out of the professional industry for a full year. I really didn't want to lose a year of professional experience, and I haven't at all. I've been able to, while technically a full-time student, my studies haven't taken up my entire time, so I've been able to also work on the side. I think the faculty's been great. Robbie is, one of the best, absolutely, investigative reporters of our time. And he's been such a good mentor for me. Another great one on faculty is Jeff Howe. He's just fantastic. I mean, in terms of long-form writing, which is another of my many interests, he's a great magazine writer. He worked for Wired for a long time, and he again helped me develop a side of journalism that I hadn't really explored yet. Well, my time at Northeastern has been great. I mean, it was, everything that I expected it would be. My whole plan coming in was to, build on the foundation I had already built as an undergrad journalism major and in a couple years of professional experience, and then take what I don't know and really work on that. And I think that ability to tailor the program to your needs is the best thing about the journalism program. It's very small, especially at the graduate level. There's probably, I don't know, 12 or 15 of us. I mean, it's really, not a big group, and so because of that, the professors really sort of know, I think, each student individually. The advice that I would give an incoming student is to come in with a real mindset to work on your weaknesses. I think it's really tempting to kind of go with what you already know and what you're already good at. So for me, that would have been coming in and trying to do more TV stuff or more, multimedia stuff. And I've, done a little bit of that, mostly on the side. In my classwork, I've really tried hard to focus on things that I don't know a lot about. And that makes it more challenging, but, ultimately much more rewarding at the end.